So I'm kind of mad with the WWE Network. I'm not able to watch. Um, I hate that it's a month. Until you can watch Raw or SmackDown a whole month.
Oh yeah, that's just because their policy with USA.
Okay, but USA doesn't own SmackDown.
Well, it's just network policies. They're on Fox.
Yeah,
They gotta have it where you have to be on TV to watch it. And they'll put it on later on.
but a month.
It was almost like the NXT. NXT used to be like day one, and then they started putting it on TV, and now it's like you gotta wait a few weeks, a couple days.
I don't mind waiting like a week. Like like let's say. I mean, I get the reasoning for it,
Yeah.
but let's say so Raw happens on Monday. We'll just say the first of the month. If they put out episode day number April 1st, if they put that out on April 8th, which is the following Tuesday.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
So because if you do it the day before, people are just going to binge watch. They could.
Especially
They could, you know what I mean?
when they release it, you already got like 4 Raws that already came out.
Right. Which
Way behind.
yeah, and then if you go for a pay-per-view, you're like, "Motherfucker." And then you can't watch that
Yeah.
live because some people care and they don't want to watch that shit old. So I think they should. I mean, who am I? I don't own money. Man, it's funny how bad the lighting looks. Like, look at this. It's just dry little like eczema spots. But if you see me normally, I look like that. It's just the reddening of the shadows. It's kind of funny.
They got Twitch network channels now that air Raw, SmackDown, AEW.
I knew about the AEW. I did not know about Twitch or SmackDown and Raw live.
Yeah. Yeah, live.
Ooh, I wonder if there'd be a way. Well, you can't because they probably own the channels. So
I'm not sure how they get away with it. He's been doing it for. I've been watching the guy. I want to say he's been doing for over a month now.
well, I'm not gonna look it up. This is what pisses me off too. I only have one monitor right now. Once I get two
Yeah.
monitors, I can do what I need to do. I have a monitor here, but anyway, that's not here or there. So I'm kind of
I
mad.
still need a link.
Yeah, I missed Raw, and on Twitter, for those of you that are following us, I've been trying to get a hold of everything and catch up, kind of that way. From what?
Raw. Raw was it was like all about newbies, um, people you never even seen of. It's weird because usually Raw after WrestleMania is like hype.
Yeah,
It was.
that's why I'm really confused. Like it's almost like the WWE is like.
We had a first hour of it was a solo match, and then something happened, interfered, and they became a tag match.
Yep.
Got interfered, and then the dude's girlfriend came out. It became a triple threat match, and it was just like 3 people for a whole hour. Like that was it. Like it was okay, and it wasn't people I really cared for. Ah,
I didn't see it. I don't even really. I briefly know what you're talking about.
it was
I'm very familiar.
Street Profit, and it was
Yeah, so Bianca and Selena went at it, right? Do I understand that right?
yeah.
Okay, so I it's funny like some of these names that are a lot of these wrestlers that some people are clearly like, oh, these are big names. It's like, dude, I've been out of wrestling for like 5 to 10 years. So to me, when I hear the name like, let's just say Alexa Bliss as an example, to me she's fucking green, and I know she's not. I know she's been around a minute.
Yeah.
Same thing with like AJ Styles. I don't really know anything about him.
Yeah, if you haven't watched any of them before you went to WWE, like I understand. Like a lot of people were like, "Whoa, who's that guy?" He's already in his 40s by that time.
Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. So, and that's what I think's crazy. I've looked into some of these stars that have been in the NXT, and it's like, wait, you've been in only NXT for like 10 years? Holy shit!
A lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't like going to the main roster. They get comfortable.
Yeah, but dude, the money increase. There's no way they're getting the same dollars. Like, all right,
Yeah.
let me. But even if they are, let me ask you this: would you rather work with new talent, where like because now, especially nowadays, like NXT and WWE seems to be, from what I'm gathering, way more integrated. Where it feels less like oh, you guys are rookies, and it feels more and more like ECW or WCW and WWE, or even better, SmackDown and Raw.
Well, the new talent, I like that there's a lot of legends that are kind of picking up talents that are just like, hey, I want to work with this guy. This guy's like part of the future. Undertaker talking about like that. KO getting built up that way.
Who?
It's nice that way.
Who did
Kevin Owens? He's gotten built up that way.
Oh, Taker picked.
There was legends that were like they pick people. It's like I really want to work with him and stuff.
Right, but that's what I think is cool, because it's like, man, to me the WWE is just amazing for that alone, because like you give someone that we talked about it briefly last week about how much like creative control that some of these stars get, and we don't know for sure, but it just kind of almost seems that way. And
yeah,
let's just say, not to hate on the guy, I really hope Lesnar didn't ever have creative control, because, or maybe I wish he did, because the point is his stuff is, I don't know, it was just all come out, kick the
lazy
shit out of you. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying go all showboaty, because here's the thing. You know, John Cena, Kurt Angle, like they were in Rock. Like those are like icons of like, you know, trolling you. Where The Undertaker, he didn't really troll. He come like, fuck, remember the bit? We talked about it last time too. He's sitting, I mean, some of you guys, hopefully most of you watching and listening know, and if you don't, you should look it up. He's sitting there like just sharpening his axe or whatever, or making a coffin. I can't remember the whole bit. It's been a while. And the like.
Oh, sanding it down?
Yeah, and then the pallbearer does all the talking, and he just looks like.
It was like your Taker's workshop.
Yeah, and he goes back to work, you know, and it's just like, like he would say, he would say 3 words. Rest.
Oh yeah, that was
peace.
It was, but seeing that was the thing about Taker though. He never got lazy off of a manager talking to him. He would always do his little things. Right now, Lesnar seems like it's let Paul talk, and he's just gonna bounce up and down, smile if he thinks something funny from Paul Heyman, and that's it. He never cuts a promo. At least Taker would look at something, he would react. He'd open his eyes, you know,
right,
do whatever.
But right, so you're right on that part of it, and that makes the difference. But that was, you know, that was always Taker's character. Taker was always just like, until he was American Badass, he was always just a quiet, said 2 or 3 words. Like he compared it. If you, for those of you that have watched the Skull Session interview, he sits there and he talks about how like, he goes, there wasn't much to say. He goes, I styled it after like a Jason, who just stalks you, and he always gets where he needs to be just in time. You know.
I love how when he heard the name, he originally thought of a Tombstone, old Western guy that would just come over there and measure your bodies.
No, well, so actually that was what Vince drew up. If you saw the draft, the cartoon drawing, that's what Vince drew.
Well, in his idea, because he was a Western fan.
Right.
So he was trying to portray that when he first got there. He was like, no, we want a slow walking dead man. But I like what you said though. Like he'd walk real slow. Slow was the best. You know, you'd real steady, and out of nowhere, pow! He would jump in the air, like, whoa, that guy can move that fast.
And then he would just cut it right back.
Yep, right back to the slow.
He'd be like,
brilliant. Paul, you know, filling it in with the urn, you know, it was just beautiful.
No, Paul,
you sit back and watch when he was with Bruce Pritchard.
So here's the best part about Paul Bearer. Like if Paul Heyman tried to do it, or if, let's say, Bischoff, or if any single person besides Paul Bearer tried to manage for the Taker, I don't think the Taker would have been as big. And the reason being is, I remember as a kid watching some of the promos, and I'm like, okay, that big motherfucker is quiet and that's scary as shit, but the other guy is ugly and creepy, and that's even scarier. So like, you know what I mean?
Do you remember Taker's first manager?
Only because I watched some like old clips, but no, I don't actually remember anything about it because I didn't.
Brother Love?
Yeah, so I didn't really watch any wrestling at that point because I didn't know about it. My dad didn't mention it to me. My cousins, I
Yeah.
would watch occasional pay-per-view, and I wasn't really knowing what was going on. I wasn't a fan at that time, so like I'd be like, oh, that's cool, and like, oh, that's a big dude. But it was, it was like early '90s, and eventually on my own in the mid to late '90s when the Attitude Era started. That's when I really like oh, okay. And
Yeah.
last week, I don't know if it was an off-camera topic or on-camera topic. We talked about the era that I mentioned that Austin and Mark talked about, and it was in reference to the SmackDown versus Raw era.
Oh, the brand splits.
Yeah, but he had a name for it. Taker called it ugh. I just can't remember what
Oh,
ugh
right.
was. And I was like, oh, okay, because I thought about it. I'm like, well, what was the other era? Watching the Big Show photo shoot, he talked about like he goes, you do the stuff we did, the talent that was so high level and split. It was an intercompany beyond creativeness. He goes, dude, that was probably the best time to be a wrestler. He goes, was
Yeah.
during the SmackDown versus Raw. He goes, it was just incredible.
From like especially in what was it, between 04 and 07. I that was probably the best roster of WWE. They pretty much had everybody you think of at
Mhm.
that time. They kind of used them everybody too, and it was great.
I it sucked because I forgot why. I remember at first because I was too late, I couldn't stay up and watch Raw, so I'd watch a lot of SmackDown, and they brought some of my favorite. And then eventually, I preferred for some reason something about how it was filmed, the flow of the show. I really preferred Raw, and Raw
Yeah.
had Triple H, so that was a no-brainer for me. But and I could care less about Cena. I was never a fan. I didn't hate on the guy, not once. I just wasn't like a yeah. I wasn't in his camp.
No, yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, oh,
totally.
okay,
Yeah.
that guy's cool, whatever.
If
But
you're a Hogan fan, you would get on his train, but
nah, see. Here's the thing. I was a Hogan fan. I'm not a. I wasn't a Cena fan. I was way more about The Rock. Now I was an Angle fan, so that was SmackDown, and I was a Lesnar fan, which he bounced around a lot. So, um, I was really big on Triple H, and then
oh,
because of that, I was obviously not really a Flair. He was just too cocky and showboaty, and I thought he was kind of shit comparatively. And he wasn't because the guy's a
Ric
fucking
Flair.
the guy's a legend. The guy's a legend, but like
Yeah.
he was this
Promo
he was this
promoter from hell, man.
he was this flabby old fuck. You know what I mean? And like I was looking at Triple
Is
H
this
because
before Evolution?
no, this is Evolution.
Oh, this is what brought Flair back. Because you ever heard that story?
No.
So they were saying that like Triple H was kind of like having schemes going through his head of how he wants to make a stable, and everything. Trying to figure out at the time who he wanted for in the group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He knew he wanted right away. He wanted two young talents. He didn't have that fill-in spot for the fourth person. He said he was like every time before a pay-per-view or a show, they always come in early and they it's empty crowds, they perform, they practice, do their little entrances, whatever they wanted. He said when he was doing his, he kind of looked in the crowd and there was Ric Flair just sitting in the audience, just kind of like looking down, sad and stuff. And it's like felt like he needed to get that flair back out of him. He sat down with him and promoted it to Flair, and he said it just his eyes lit up and stuff, and just like that's what like lit that fire back in Flair, man. Like
Flair,
he probably would have retired a lot sooner.
Yeah, Flair wasn't even that old then either. I mean, don't get me wrong, he wasn't young.
I want to say he was like in his 50s there.
I would maybe like 45, 55 in that range for sure. I don't think he was much older than that, but I didn't know that. And then when I think evolution, I think of three people in combination. What I mean by that is I think Triple H, Flair, Batista, Triple H, Flair, and Orton. I know the four of them were a thing, but like I don't always think of them together because I know
Why? Injury?
well because the injuries, Batista split.
Well, he got injured twice. That's why he held back a little bit.
Well, he also was kicked out though.
Wait, what do you?
Well, when Batista feuded with Triple H, or was it with Flair?
Yeah, well, Orton was the first one that got bumped out.
Oh man, I'm rusty as can be. Yes. Okay, yeah. I'm remembering now.
He won the world title.
That's right. Hey, dude,
Teased him.
Teased
had him on his shoulder.
I just watched.
When they did that though, that was Triple H just trying to get. All right, this is a little bird coming off the nest right now. It's your turn to learn to fly. That's why they split off.
So I remember watching the Triple H Orton match. I just watched it recently. I didn't see it. I don't remember it live. I just watched it though a couple nights ago, and I can't remember where the match was, but it was a last man standing match for the title, of course. It was a draw. They both lost. But like I remember he just beat the fuck out of his knee. And it's funny because now I'm watching it way more intently, like almost learning as if I could do it. Now I'm not saying that that'll never happen, but I'm saying like I'm almost being studious as if like I was actually a pro wrestler, looking for little nuances that, like, how do they pull that off? Like what's making it not hurt them? Like when he's grabbing the ladder, Orton's slamming on the ladder, but Triple H has got like he's holding it up just a little, so it's not actually slamming his knee. And it's like simple shit like that, as a kid, as an adult who's just sitting there watching it, having a couple of drinks, having a good old time. Don't necessarily, maybe I'm wrong. If you guys do, feel free to comment or send us an email or tweet us and yell at me. That's fine. But like I don't always pay attention to it, so like I don't stop and think, like they're just sitting there going, yeah. Like I know guys that are older than you and me, almost combined, that are like, yeah, he beating the shit out of him. Look at that blood. It's like you do realize they're going like this, and then like a minute later they're bleeding. Like it's not an accident.
It's fanboy, man. It's like when I go live to house shows or something, I forget about like me trying to be all like, this is what he's gonna. We know who's gonna win. I just, there's moments where you just go straight fanboy.
Okay. No, well, here's the thing. I don't watch it thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna win. Of course. I do watch it from a fanboy perspective, but more of like an old performer fanboy perspective.
Yeah.
Like the way like Edge was like, if you watch the Edge Second Mountain video, it was amazing, right? So I don't know if you saw it or not, but I'm not going to spoil it. There's not really much to spoil, but he's sitting there. I would watch it if I were you.
Recent.
Yeah, you guys should watch it.
I've seen it.
If any of you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. It is.
Yeah, it's really good.
It had my wife in tears. I'm not gonna, I know you probably know what moment I'm talking about, but my wife ended up crying.
Probably, yeah.
My wife, and I'll tell you later if you want me to, but my wife doesn't really care about wrestling. She's starting to a little, but so it's a pretty obvious moment, and she started crying. She's like, I'm gonna cry, and she's crying a little bit, and it was just a really good, well done movie. And he's sitting there, he goes, I couldn't stay away. He goes, once I watched, I was like, oh, I guess I can watch, and he kind of got a little excited, and then he's like, yeah.
Oh, with the and
he's
like, doing the stunts.
He goes, yeah, I couldn't watch anymore, so he got back into going down there and training and teaching and mentoring and which then eventually.
What was it? It was the Viking show that kind of got him where that moment where he was like, "Hey, I can do this."
So he did a bunch of it for the other cop show or whatever it was.
Yeah, Haven or whatever.
Yeah. And then eventually he did more and more for Haven, and eventually the Viking guys were like, "Hey man, do these, your Edge," kind of thing.
Yeah, that's where he did the fight scene.
Well, he was doing them beforehand, but they were getting a little more like it was only fight scenes, Scum Vikings, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, but we're off topic a little bit. But I mentioned the fact that like he was watching it and mentoring and coaching these people, and I'm sure you could see if you watch any of these behind the scenes, like the people under the stage, behind the stage, they're cheering like you and I cheer. Because they're friends.
Oh yeah.
Because it's almost like family for each other. They're but at the same time, they're probably watching a lot of the technical stuff. Like
Yeah, looking for them spots and stuff like
to
that.
make
See, I
sure.
do that on Mondays and stuff.
Yeah, because you can tell like, oh shit, like they shouldn't have been laying down that long. Something's wrong. Something's
Oh
wrong.
yeah, oh yeah.
You know, and
You definitely nowadays you can look at the referee and you can always tell his signal.
well, maybe. Like I'm not that attuned yet to the referee's signals because there's been times I remember looking at old matches. I'm like, no way, and the ref looks.
Hands.
What do you mean?
When they double check real fast, a real fast fly check. What they do is somebody got slammed, maybe top rope, for example, ladder got thrown off or something like that. The referee will come over, put his hand on top. If they squeeze just a tad, he knows it's good. He'll just go over to the other person. See, he'll act, he's pretending to check, but he'll see that hand squeeze. He'll come over and grip real quick. If he doesn't squeeze, you'll see him grab his walkie-talkie in the back, telling them. He'll usually tell it's all right because he's always constantly getting feedback. Hey, is he all right? What's going on?
I did know we talked about that, and that's what's crazy about this shit, especially watching like some of the greatest injuries that happened. Like guy I work with, I told you about him. He was telling me about the Sid Vicious. Dude, I can't even watch that clip. Oh
no, that is so bad.
Dude, like a lot of these other injuries can be faked. I'm not, and they're not. But like think about it. Like Tegan Knox, like when she went down, like I saw the clip and I watched the original and I'm like, oh, and I didn't know much about her, but I watched it recently.
Which, you talking about the War Games?
It was the second time she fought Rhea Ripley and she came over the ropes, slammed, hit her, but her knee, which was already injured, but rehabbed, slammed on the ramp, and then like they're laying down for a little bit. And I'm thinking, it's the beginning of the match. You shouldn't be laying down that long. Whatever. They're NXT. They're just inexperienced, right? That was my thought.
Yeah.
That really was my thought. And then she starts slamming her fist, screaming at the stairs, and I'm like, she didn't miss a move. She didn't fuck anything up. This is kind of weird. And then she goes in the ring, goes boom, boom, falls down, but her knee doesn't move. All of a sudden, you can hear tears, and it's like, oh shit, that's real.
There's some simple things that happen. Like, for example,
the thing is, though, it's so tight of a, because again, if you're even in a little bit of a fanboy moment, you're not going to catch those things. I didn't.
Yeah. You go back and see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for example, with the Seth Rollins, where he flips over the turnbuckle, he's over their back to the running powerbomb. He just does a simple flip over. When his feet hit the mat, he buckled. When he buckled, it messed his knee up, and he had to go to surgery. Right, just little simple things, and it was just him that did it. He didn't have no weight on him or anything.
Yeah. Now that's what scares me about like anything, because I thought about just going to train just to fucking have some fun, you know what I mean? Do a little local promo show, it'd be cool.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like $40 a month. It's the same as a gym membership, pretty much.
Oh, like the schools?
Yeah. There's two nearby, but there's one really close to me. We talked about it. It's not a good school, but it's, I'm not trying to fucking. I know in the shape I'm in, and the level of training I have, and the level of natural talent I have, or lack thereof, it'd be pointless for me to think like, yeah, I'll go pro. No, I know that. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. Anything, because
I used to wrestle in high school. I miss that.
Well,
I miss it.
Yeah,
I really do.
I did that as well.
I have a heart problem. I couldn't even. That's what stopped me. I couldn't even if I wanted to try to, like, hey, maybe I could do that.
What drove me nuts as a kid when I thought about trying to get into professional wrestling, and I was like 16, 17. It's like I got the frame of like Lesnar, sort of, because I did have really big traps. Like they were just and but not that big, more like Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
Except I'm only 5'11".
Are you? Yeah, we're the same height.
So like the people that are my height are like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Edge is actually 6'2". Like they're the skinnier. Rey Mysterio's like 5'10", right? They're scrawny guys. There's no big, because they're.
Man, did you see when Ray first blew up? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, but and that was my
Oh, maybe with
realization.
some wings.
That was my realization. Like even if I got crazy like Mr. Olympia big, that would be the only way I would be happy. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I didn't come out like this,
Dude,
I
like,
wouldn't want to wrestle.
go back, like, I don't know if you ever seen the recent pictures of Ronda Rousey. Man, she's got Brock Lesnar arms right now. Like, what the hell's going on? But her body looks normal, like how she usually looks. But it's just like Hulk Hogan arms. The hell?
Arms are really easy to grow. Like you can just like you do like one, two, bam. Like it's just that quick. Like for me especially,
Now you're Scott Steiner.
dude, so I never trained my arms. I only trained my chest and my legs and my back, and occasionally I did shoulders. Occasionally I would do some arms, but like the arms I had were just naturally inherited from how I lifted. I was lifting like a bodybuilder, which I think every single pro wrestler who's not a fat slob should be lifting that way because it allows for it's the least amount of stress because there's not a lot of weight, right? And it's allows for the most amount of maximum muscle growth. So
Yeah.
it would I mean, obviously we know some of these people are on steroids and shit. I would too if you were getting beat up that much every night, a couple nights a week, especially when they tour. I know some of these wrestlers, they wrestle 3-4 times a week for months straight. No way. So that's the young guys game, which
That's not even including house shows.
why right. You know,
Yeah, they
so
bust their ass.
some of
I mean, you got to do something.
it's
I mean, you're working. Your main objective in your job is injury. Like you gotta watch yourself. You gotta be protected, especially if you want to have a long jeopardy at your or a long career.
it's funny. I loaded WWK 18. The kids loaded it, and they're like, "Dad, who's this?" And I'm like, "Oh." There was a
Seth Rollins on it.
sure. Yeah. But there was just a bunch of one-offs. To me, they were one-offs, as in,
18.
yeah.
He has the best legend and the arenas.
I agree with you from what I've seen and played it briefly. But what I was saying is, there's a lot of one-off like people that I never heard of, which means they may have been big, they may have wrestled.
Give me an example.
I'd have to load the roster up, but I didn't know who Emma was. There was like 5 or 6 women.
Oh, Emma. Yeah. I got you.
There were like 5 or 6 women. I was like, who's this? I did know some of the names, like Ava Marie. I know she no longer.
You remember Santino?
Not off by hand.
He was the Italian that had the Cobra. Cobra.
Yeah.
A Santino.
Very brief. Again,
He was real comedy, real comedian guy.
I was popping in and out of wrestling between like 2007 and 2012. I
He
was just
tried
popping
to
in and out.
train Emma. Like they tried to give her a push through Santino. It was kind of in that area, and then she kind of went to the. She got fired.
Right.
Maybe I want to say maybe 4 years in WWE.
Right.
Not including NXT.
And that was like
main roster.
that was like the 4 or 5 years I didn't watch anything, like at all.
Yeah,
you know?
probably.
Because I started watching briefly, very briefly when you and I kind of met. So like,
Oh yeah.
so like from 2007, 2008, I didn't really watch it. Maybe once a month at best, a couple times a year. I'd watch Raw or SmackDown, and then I stopped like completely, like 2009, 2010, and I didn't pick it up again until 2016. So there was a 6-year period where you may have had a legend, right, who wrestled for 6 years, had a superstar career, got injured, retired, and I didn't even know about him or her. So like, you know, Beth Phoenix, I never really saw her wrestle other than old clips. I never saw it live in any aspect.
Beth Phoenix was she was entertaining. She worked with Santino too. So yeah, I guess that was about the same era as well. Roughly, about like 06, 05.
Again, I heard of her, I knew of it, but like, you know, I was kind of coming off of, that's when the big names for me were leaving or getting ready to start leaving. You know, Edge, Christian, Lita, The Rock already kind of left. Cena just was he was not his peak, but towards his peak.
Yeah.
Kane was
I got
not.
a fun fact for you.
Go ahead.
This is like totally off the subject, but
No, you're good.
it just dawned on me real quick. Do you watch AEW?
No.
Okay. So you don't know who Jungle Boy is?
No, and I'm not against it. I'm not like fuck them. No. I just don't.
No, yeah. Okay, never mind. If you ever look up the picture of Jungle Boy, it's great. I just found out who his father is, and it's like, whoa, really?
Don't tell me. 1 second.
Just look up Jungle Boy AEW.
I'm looking up right now. Hang on.
Yeah.
All right, so
and look at his face.
So we need
Tell me what he looks like.
Since we're just all over the place, I want to talk about. There's something I want to talk to you about. I can't remember what it was. Man, I'm trying not to look at anything because I don't want to mess up and see anything.
Oh yeah, get that little brain fart.
Wait a minute. How old is this kid?
Oh, he's probably young. Probably in his late 20s, maybe. Maybe younger.
I'm only asking because I can't find a good picture. In this picture.
That's his recent picture.
Okay,
that's what he looks like. Yeah.
Is that good or bad? Do I need an old picture?
That's a good picture. No, that's a good one.
Oh, well, okay. It already came up.
So I
clicked on it. It already said his name's Perry, which I knew was Luke Perry. So
he looks like him, don't he?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm sitting there thinking. Like that looks like.
He looks just like his dad. I didn't dawn on it.
100%.
I didn't really, like look at his name and stuff, and then it hit me. I'm like, wait, exactly what you said, Perry. He's like, and I started looking through. I'm like, motherfucker.
It's that like weird jawline, cheek line thing. It's a giveaway in the forehead because he's got a big forehead. Hairline's back. All right. So there was something I wanted to talk to you about, and I don't remember what it was. So anyone watching, you can turn this off because we don't give a shit. I'm just kidding. We love you. But seriously, I wanted to talk about. There was a match, an older match that I wanted to like dive into. Yeah, it was a wrestling match. I can't remember. WWE, possibly WWF. No, it wasn't WWF. I didn't really watch WWF. It was WWE, and I haven't watched it in a long fucking time. But I wanted to go over, like, just who do you think is the... Okay, so this is where it becomes a tricky question because you could almost have two conversations out of this one question. It's like, who's the craziest wrestler to ever have lived in the ring? Okay, not promos, not like crazy shit. I'm talking like, because, who's the craziest in the ring? And then, who was the craziest shit done to? What I mean by that is, for me, Mick Foley was nuts, but he got thrown off of the top of cage.
But they talked about it probably. I'm pretty sure he probably gave that idea out. And then continue in the match?
Right. And let's take it a step further. The only people that I think... Now, they didn't continue the match, so this is where Mick Foley takes the cake from me. But I'm going to have to go from, again, there's probably some many iconic stuff I've missed or probably really forget about. But for me, watching The Miz and Shane O'Mac go at it, I was like, yo, they're just fucking... Like, they fell for days.
Kurt Angle and Shane, you talking about Shane, King of the Ring, Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon.
What year?
Brutal. 98, I think. 99, maybe.
Yeah, but that wasn't like what I'm talking.
No, maybe it was a little later.
No, yeah, no.
That wasn't like, I know that was kind of on the subject. I heard you saying Shane and being hardcore, but you ever watch some incidents with that match? It's like, oh my god.
No. The guy was nuts, and he like. He's like, I don't care that this isn't televised, and I don't care that there's only 5 people here. I'm gonna get bloody and break a leg. Let's go. Like he
Yeah.
didn't care. Like he was just like
And that
oh
and that subject, or that topic right there, I got two people.
I
I probably agree with you on that second
so
one, Mick Foley all the
so
way,
hold up.
doing dangerous shit.
I need yeah. I want you to not only give me a name on who's like the craziest in ring performer. I also want to give, if you pick them, give me like the craziest moment or a couple of them. Go ahead.
Of that guy?
Of whoever that guy or girl is, yeah.
With the first person you're saying, like, what was the second question for the guy? That was craziest moments. First one was craziest person.
Craziest person in ring, and then give me their craziest moment. Their craziest moment. So like Foley's was obviously jumping off the fucking cage. I don't think you can top. I don't think he ever topped that himself. So.
Well, one person I honestly is. I want to. There's two people. It's a toss up for me, and they're kind of hard for me to give an example of what part was crazy because it's like every time you watched him, it was like, ooh, wow. It's like, but probably my two people that are like tired is Bruiser Brody and Terry Funk.
Oh shit! You're going old
Crazy.
school.
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking crazy people like.
Yeah,
I would probably have to say those two dudes, and then the moments and stuff, craziest moments that could ever probably be history would be Mick Foley.
yeah. So, but obviously, but I was asking for that individual's craziest moment. So give me Bruiser Brody's craziest moment that you know of or watch at any point.
What's his name? Abdul the Butcher. When he had a match with him, oh my god, it was like it looked like they got out of a car accident. Just the way they performed, they were legit stabbing each other in the forehead just to get tensions. It was bad.
So
like Cactus Jack and stuff. Cactus Jack. Any ECW.
Let's go back to the Bruiser Brody Abdul match.
Yeah.
When was that match? So anyone who's watching can look it up.
I want to say it was 76, 1976 maybe.
But was it a pay-per-view? Was it just a show? Was it?
No, it was just a local show. They would just pull out forks, man, and just stab each other in the forehead.
How did you catch the episode or the match rather?
My dad, he's a big wrestling fan, and he binge watching and stuff like that. I go back over and just like now that you're in your age and stuff, you can kind of like get more appreciation with wrestling compared to how you were a kid.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at, But I still like there's times I watch some old matches from when I was a kid, and I almost lose the appreciation, just go fanboy again, because it's like, oh shit.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. Oh, I love it, man. Oh, this is when Edge returned from Royal Rumble. I went.
So I didn't see it, but like I got goosebumps. I remember watching the clip from the documentary that we referenced earlier, and like I was, as soon as I'm like, I can only imagine what he went through. Like,
oh man, if my kid was here, I'd give you an example of how she gets into that little schoolgirl scream. That's how I was. I was just
I believe it. I believe everyone was, and then and to a lesser extent, some people got that when Hogan came back the first time, which.
Mute my camera for a minute.
Yep.
Hogan, I don't know about Hogan. No, like I'm gonna give him credit for being a great performer and building the what's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, the pavestone for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he did a great job, and promos were good and everything, but it's going back and like it's the modern age. It's the kids nowadays. Hogan is John Cena, right? Who would you make him now? Who would be the new Hogan in your eyes?
So, for me, it would obviously be Taker, but like that's not fair because he still wrestles and he ain't coming back when he leaves.
Nah, man. I mean,
So,
like
but oh, hey, I'm talking.
the baby face.
Yeah. I'm thinking through this as we're talking. So, I don't know. It'd be hard. Like honestly, for me, for you and me rather, our age, I would go more berserk if Stone Cold came back. Right?
Hell yeah.
Like, but the difference is now, no one knew about Edge coming back.
Yeah. See, it's hard. Like, what I'm trying to think is like more younger people. Like, who's, like past the torch, so to speak. You had Hogan, you had Stone Cold, Rock in that era. They was Kurt Angle,
Right. So I'm gonna
John
go.
Cena.
Yep, I'm gonna go with AJ Styles.
AJ, nice. That's a good choice.
If he's gone for like 2-3 years, all day he's got the Hogan hype. All day.
Yeah.
All day for sure.
Man, I just wish he would have got in a little sooner
because
compared to his age.
Once you wrestle for so long, there comes a point where your comeback not only becomes less realistic, it becomes more lackluster. I mean, if you come back at 55 years old, like Goldberg, you fucking piece of shit, it's only going to be so good, Obviously, I never want to stop watching Taker and Triple H, and I wish Angle would. Actually, I wish Angle would come back, and I know these guys can't, and it's a shame that they, and they can't come back because they were that good. They went that above and beyond. I mean, Angle would do stuff, apply like 5% of his strength, but look like he's fucking 100% going at you, and I don't see that anymore. Okay, let me ask you this. To me, Angle is one of the greatest at selling it.
Angle, yeah.
My opinion. Again, I'm not saying it's true or false. I think he's one of the greatest at selling it with his face and his body. However, there are many performers that are better at selling it with the moves. That make the moves look more real. Taker is one of them. Now that's not fair because he's been doing it for 74 years, so he's refined. But there's plenty of people that are better than Angle ever was at selling it with the moves. Like they looked like, oh shit,
total package.
Like that looked real. It looked like he actually punched him in the face.
Yeah, legit.
But
I don't know if we can say this word or this name. I honestly don't care because the guy's a great performance. Really, anybody with, everybody's got their own opinion, but I'm not thinking outside that. I'm thinking about his career. But Benoit was very technical. Everything he did was like fluent.
I'm gonna have to agree with you, but Angle has him beat in the selling, like the. See now you threw Benoit in the mix. I almost forgot about him a little bit. Like that guy, yeah.
Just that ruthless part of him, he was a total package.
Like
man.
So, like when his fist would collide with someone's face, it looked like this, because he just had good technique. I guess the best way. His technical skills were very solid. Probably I would put him up there, on honestly, for sure. More and more I think about it. It just, for me, Angle still was more of this guy thinks like he's actually gonna snap that guy's neck. I think he forgot this is a performance. Like that was, Angle was that way. Taker was that way in periods. And that's really, like, a lot of them don't. A lot of them you can tell, like, they're acting. Angle did not look like he was acting sometimes. You know who else, to me, who else had big periods of that? The Rock.
The Rock, oh my God.
There were a lot of times you're like,
every expression, I love The Rock.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, there were times I wondered, like, does he know this is fake? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, too, that young people need to understand. Like, it's not all about movement, but the facials. Like, Here's a great example here. You remember when Triple H challenged Undertaker to WrestleMania for the first time?
Dude, yes.
Remember, they didn't say anything.
Nope, it was just
He went in the
fucking
ring.
straight up.
He stared at each other. Triple H glazed up at that WrestleMania banner.
Yep.
Undertaker knew what he was looking at, looked over at it, smucked at him like, see you there.
That was it, though.
It was
no, that was
perfect.
And
he backed. No, excuse me. I take that back. He backed up, did his whole Undertaker throat thing, and Triple H backed up and did the suck it, DX, and that was it. Everybody, man, it popped.
But
big pop.
So the two of them, those guys. Now, obviously, Taker's talked about how he owes his entire life to Vince, and Triple H is on a different level of that because it's his father-in-law, and he gave him everything he has on top of that.
Well, you got to think too. Triple H took a grunt blow. He bit the bullet, took it, and he climbed back up the mountain. I don't know if you remember that.
At which point, because I know
it was when the Clique was leaving.
Yeah, but that wasn't. My question is, was it real though?
Yes. This moment was real, and he got punished for it because he was the newbie in WWE. This is when the kayfabe was going on about baby faces can't hug villains or heels, right? And they had the cage match, and Scott Hall and Nash leaving the WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Michaels and Triple H got in the ring after the match, and they hugged them. Everybody hugged. And that was just like they broke kayfabe. And, of course, at that time, Shawn Michaels was the champion, so they couldn't punish him. Give it to Hunter Hearst Helmsley. That's who he was at the time. Put him down in the, he's going to get everything. Triple H, or excuse me, Vince McMahon chumped him off, put him down. He had to earn his stripes, go back up the pyramid, man, and he did.
Yeah, but so I didn't know that was real in the sense of like, I'm trying to think of how do I want to word this. To me, it's almost like, so I remember going that far back. I don't remember as much with Triple H. I'm very familiar with his like just before Evolution days and beyond. So that that's not fair, but I don't really know, like, and then it's like, okay, he had to climb back up, but what does that really mean? And this is a question that you might know. I don't have enough insider information.
Like title matches or any, just being in the top.
What I mean
tier.
Is right, but what I mean is Taker is probably one of the greatest wrestlers to ever have lived, and that's me being a fanboy. That's not really like.
No, I mean I agree with you, man.
So. A lot of that's fanboy though, because let's just be honest. He's had like 6 matches in the last 6 years. So
fanboy or not, man, you got to think of career mode, man.
Well, right, but my point still stands though. With he hasn't had a title match in fuck knows how long, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Right, but that doesn't mean he's in the bottom of the pyramid either. I mean, he's on his own fucking pyramid. So you say that he got put back down. Now here's something I've want to know, like,
are you hold on, are you about to compare it to what Taker's doing right now?
No, not so much a comparison. What I'm saying is, like, why you say the bottom of the pyramid. Now if wrestling was real, it's like, okay, you just got to actually fucking win and work your ass off and get back up. But what does that mean in the WWE? Because
he got like, they're just like, he wasn't getting, like, okay, even if he got wins, he wasn't getting up on that stack. Like, wouldn't he be getting a title shot right now?
Okay.
No, it didn't happen.
But you said if he got wins.
No, he was getting wins.
Right, but the wins were given to him.
Yeah, well, then, in the story wrote, but
right.
When you think, okay, the story would continue him going higher, right? That never happened. Title.
Yes, and the question is why?
Because he was the lowest member at that time that Vince, I think what I heard was Vince had to put an example on.
Right, but
Triple H was that guy.
But was that before they were? That was before he got engaged and married. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is even before DX.
Oh, you're going that far back. See, I didn't know that. See, I'm a little foggy on where you're talking about
This is
timeline wise.
before China, I think.
Oh shit. I forget how
Yeah,
long
he was
Triple
Hunter
H has
Hearst
been there.
Helmsley.
Yeah, I remember when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but I forgot it was that far ago. Motherfucker. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was just right at that time it wasn't DX or anything. It was just the Click, because they traveled together.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that was the whole stable. It was an underground stable. Think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then
It's like shit. It's like, for the example, like with Austin and McMahon. McMahon had to do an example on Austin. He
yeah.
walked away.
No, that was kind of a shame that Austin that they didn't get along that well. And it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then we find out like that was all real. Like,
Yeah,
oh
I
shit.
love the whole thing. It came out raw. Austin took his ball and went home.
Yeah, but like but this when that went down, I was like, oh okay, yeah, he maybe whatever. It's just scripted. He'll be back next week. I did not know that it was. That's when friends of mine were like, no man, like he got fired. I'm like, what? They're like that shit.
No,
He
he
wasn't
walked
supposed to.
out.
Well, he was, but the way he tells it is he was politely asked to leave.
I don't know, man. I think he got frustrated, just like that Brock Lesnar incident. I think he just said, fuck it.
I like. See, it's hard. I'm really torn with Brock. I really like his physique, but I can't fucking. Just why?
Oh, a performer in real life? Probably. I'm. It's funny because I watched Lesnar on the Broken Skull podcast.
I didn't. I'll have to check that out.
Just listening to the way he talks reminds me of this guy that I work with. Straight country boy, likes to hunt, be by himself. He's out in the woods, works 9 to 5, and if you don't like him, fuck you. It doesn't matter. I'm here to work. And that was his mind frame. That's how, like, to me in real life, I probably would not be a Lesnar friend. Like,
yeah, I probably wouldn't either for the exact same reason. He just seems like the interviews I've seen of him, non-wrestling interviews where he's himself. He just seems like an arrogant. He seems like this almost the same character.
oh, I remember back in the day.
Like he just seems like an arrogant prick, no matter what.
When he just started winning the championship, there was this incident where he was going to the airport with Sable. They were getting on, booking to go to the next show, and it was a young kid, went over to him and asked for an autograph, and he told him flat out no. Yeah. Like, what the fuck, man? And it wasn't like a group of people bum rushed him or anything. It was just one person.
So here's something I've said because a similar topic. It's involving famous people and autographs and shit. I cannot stand Lou Ferrigno. I think he was a decent bodybuilder, and I think he was a terrible fucking Hulk, and I think he was he's a borderline C-list actor.
Yeah.
He charges like $50 an autograph. Fuck you, dude. Yeah,
what?
Maybe it was 25, but whatever. He's charging. Look, if you should be paying me. I fucking made your career by being a fan. Fuck you. And that's why I would get upset about the Lesnar thing. Like, if you look at have you been on our Twitter at all in the last week or two?
No, I gotta did you ever send me an invite? I was about to ask you if I can just use my name so I don't have to log into yours, and I can just it wouldn't be confusing. Because it's still the same name, Turtle.
Yeah, you could if you want. That's fine. But the reason I'll tell you later why I was thinking you could log in additionally, because I'm still logged in under Chromac. But anyway, my point was I took a picture with the Iron Sheik in 2007.
Oh really?
Right.
You met the Iron Sheik?
Fuck yeah, brother. Fuck yeah. You know what? A little sneak peek for those of you and for you that people that didn't get to see it on Twitter. I'm gonna look it up right now here. Yeah. So in a nutshell. I'll make this real fast. I went to basic training in 2006. Graduated in September of 2007 on my 18th birthday. I then did a year of college, did the rest of my training, and for those of you that have done military or haven't, it's called AIT, which is your job training. Basically, they teach you how to do whatever job it is that you are going to have. I was in the reserves for 12 years, but before that, I get home. I got some shit went down, and I got stuck in like an extra 3 weeks of training where I just kind of sat around doing exercises and just chilling half the day. Go back, come home. My uncle, I'm a huge Genesis fan. They got back together for the final farewell tour in 2007. We go to Cleveland. It's me, my mom, my dad's full brother, his wife, and her sister. So I'm hanging out with a bunch of 40 and 50-year-old people, and actually, well, late 30s and early 50s, and we're at the bar in the hotel at the Hilton, right across from the Cleveland baseball stadium, pretty much. And I look over and I'm like, oh, sweet. I just kind of do one of those. My dad's like, what? I'm like, oh, it's the Iron Sheik. He's just having a drink, whatever. He's eating his dinner. My mom, she's like, oh, your cousin and your uncles are gonna blah blah blah, and your grandfather. I'm like, sure. I don't want to bother him. He's having his dinner. This isn't a meet and greet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not a kid either. I was 18 at the time.
Trying to be politeful.
Yeah, like I was 18 at the time, so I wasn't a kid, but I wasn't a full blown adult. Like, look, I don't care who my idol. I didn't really have idols. I had people I looked up to, but it was more of a physique look up. Like that, I want that fucking, But other than that, it was. I was like, oh yeah, no. My mom's like, come on. I'm like, she goes up. She goes, hey, my nephew's a huge fan, and my son watched it when he was growing up, which was half true. And he's like, oh yes, come here. So here's the picture. He throws his belt on my shoulder. I said, no. He goes, no, take it. So he fucking slaps it on my shoulder, gives me a real firm pat on the back, and some random dude walks up right after I take the picture, and they're like, hey, can we get a picture? And he goes. So they go to take a picture, and the guy goes, can I get the belt? And he goes, no one touches the belt. And the guy's wife goes, well, that guy didn't. He goes, he's military. I was like, yeah, dude. I gained so
cool.
much respect for that man. I was like, oh, brother, like, I love the Iron Sheik just because of that. Because that is one of those,
so
like,
cool, man.
He understands where he came from and who made him. You and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our parents.
That's
and so on.
really awesome.
So
wait, he brought the title to dinner?
Yeah, well, my mom talked to him, but I don't remember the whole story. He did, but he was by himself. He just came from or was going to like some sort of, I don't know if it was a meet and greet or a Hall of Fame alumni or it was some sort of wrestling related event.
Still had his gear with him.
So he had but it wasn't an event like a match. He wasn't going to like a pay-per-view where because he can't have the title, But it was one of those things, and I was like, fuck, that was cool, man.
That's sweet.
I
kind of got a little story about the first time I met, kind of like that, where you kind of look over. I was at my mom's house, drinking, just partying out, man. And to the keg, getting me a refill, pumping over and drink, kind of just look over. Motherfucking Finley standing right beside me. I'm like, wait. I'm like, Mom.
No, that's a way more like, holy fuck.
I was like, Mom, do you know who that is? Yeah, he lives up. That's Charles's friend. He lives right so and so. I'm like, no, that's Finley. Like, I was just like, excuse me, like, Finley. Hey, how you doing? Oh my God, can I pick your brain for a minute? Like, it was cool, man. He was drunk. We were all just chilling, having a good time. It was awesome.
So
he was a real cool guy.
It's one of those things where, like, if I'm retired, I don't want to sit here and talk wrestling. You know what I mean? Necessarily, like, because some of you can tell, like, some of these guys, they don't want to talk wrestling. Some of these hockey.
Dude, my main question was, why did you get the?
Like, why'd you get the what?
Why did you get the Finley character?
Okay. Well,
he just laughed about it and everything, but it was He's like, hey, it's like one of them ideas,
Well, it's like Taker's like, I want to be Eggman.
Oh my God,
Is this
right?
is this the Undertaker?
Such a funny story, man. That is
Yes,
such a
this
funny
is the
story.
Undertaker.
I'll see you Monday.
Or who else? Who else had the same kind of story?
Stone Cold?
No.
You talking about with the characters and stuff?
Yeah. Big
Jake
Show.
the Snake had one.
Big Show. This is the Big Show. What? Oh, well, you're big. Your show is the Big Show. Big Show. All right, here you go. Because
it'll be perfect. They'll love it.
Which, dude's fun.
Jake the Snake had one. He was scared of Snake before he got that character.
Dude,
And he said he didn't want to do it because they showed him the tights, and he was at the time before he did it, he wasn't wearing tights. It was like, I wasn't in shape. Like, I don't know about these tights and snakes and stuff. And they're like, well, listen, pal, we had this great idea about we're gonna give you the world title. It's like, world title? Yeah, I mean I can lose some pounds now. It's like,
that's great. No, that's awesome. Yeah, so like, other people, they're not wrestling related, unfortunately, but I've met a bunch of people. I'm trying to think of who else I would have met wrestling related, and I don't think anybody. It's kind of a shame. But I never seeked it out. Like I wasn't trying. Neither were you with Finley, right?
yeah.
I've met many times. He used to bring his car into the shop where I worked at, and the gas station, but I worked in the oil change location of it. The coach for the Sabres, old coach.
Oh, nice.
Last I knew he was in Dallas, but anyway, he he came in all the time and he'd be like, yeah, and then once in a blue moon, some dumbass customer usually would come up and be like, well, you know what you should do for this, blah, blah, blah. And he'd just be like, okay. And then the one day I was like, sorry, you just cut off our conversation. Anyway, so the reason why I prefer Budweiser over Bud Light, like we were just changing the topic, because he's a regular dude, you know what I mean? He's here to get his oil change, and obviously we know who he is, you know what I mean? Because we would address him by his name, like, hey, Mr. Ruff.
I feel like that.
We'd be like, hey, Mr. Ruff, thank you for being a coach of the Sabres. Hang on one second. I gotta mute myself for a second here.
Yep.
I'm still in the middle of this. Yeah. You gotta ask stuff. Alright, sorry about that. Technical difficulties, I guess, right? So yeah, it was Lindy Ruff. I met a local news guy, and he was the biggest prick. Like,
oh really?
I can't even. I'm not gonna name his name because I don't do that. But if you want off camera, I'll tell you. But not a nice man at all. I met another hockey player because he actually was next door neighbor of a guy who used to work where I work. They were really good buddies, and I met him before that at one of those. It's called Saba. It's like a mental and physical handicap skating thing. They put on a little show, like a figure skating. It's really cool. They do a good job with it. But I met him there a couple times. He was really cool. Yeah, that's about it.
I met Ultimo Dragon for a brief second at Thunder.
Did you really?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. We didn't get to talk, but we got to say hey game.
Oh, okay. Well, and that's the thing. Like, again, it's situational. Like, if I go to, let's just say, a fitness expo, right, and there's a wrestler there, yeah, guess what? You're there as the wrestler. I expect you to fucking give me a handshake, and we're gonna talk wrestling because you're a wrestler. Like, that's
yeah.
But now, if we're at the airport, how you doing, Mister? See you later, and just keep walking.
Yeah, he was leaving out of his match, and he was walking right by me. Kind of game. I was 13. It was cool. I ever tell you last year I almost got walked into a promo, got yelled at by the security at a house show. Went to go get a beer. I was going to a beer, and Byron Saxon was doing a promo with some family. I guess they were moving.
Go ahead, Byron Saxon.
Yeah, they were moving a family. They were in a higher section or whatever road, so they're kind of moving them closer. I didn't know anything. I could hear them, but I couldn't. I didn't know what section they were in the arena or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just walking. It was me and my cousin, and I just cruise. I'm like looking around because I can hear the guy talk. I'm like, where is he? You know, and all of a sudden I just hear this lady, stop, screaming. I'm like, what? And I'm gonna look up. She's just flagging, stop. I tap my cousin on the shoulder. He's in front of me. I'm like, I think she's talking to us.
Take a half. Look
over. Right beside us is Byron Saxon doing the promo. We almost like walked in front of the camera and everything where they're filming. And No Way Jose comes around the corner to escort the family. And we're all like, you know, they walk past us, so we're high-fiving them and stuff like that. And security lady, she's an old lady. She's like, I'm so sorry, sweetie, for yelling at you like that. But it was so funny, man. I love house shows, though.
I've never, you know, this is where makes me seem like you guys are all gonna hate on me because I'm a joke, right? But I've never been to a house show.
Oh, they're great, man. You should experience them. You get more like you'll get matches that you're like, wow, like tag team. Those are tagging.
Here's the thing, though. Like I told you before, like I'm tempted just to go, like to start checking out the scene and like locally, like just start going to like not even a house show. Like I'm talking like, here is Jimmy John. He's gonna wrestle Smorgasbord. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just like some like terrible garbage, bottom of the barrel, worst you can imagine.
They tease you with that. Give you some crappy ones. And at the main event, it'll be like Triple H comes out of nowhere. You know?
Dude, I would literally shit my pants. Could you imagine you're at like a local training gym? It's a gym no one's ever heard of. You know, all of a sudden the match is over, everyone's getting up. All of a sudden you hear, it's time to play the game. Oh, I do it. The crowd would go nuts. Like,
happened to me.
What? Come on.
At a house show. 4 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on the thing or whatever. He just came out of nowhere. It was just the thing.
When you say house show, I'm thinking like local guys that no one knows who the fuck they are. It's not WWE. It's not NXT. It's not AEW.
No, this is WWE's house show.
Yeah, I'm talking like local
film.
Like local show.
No, I mean like. Yeah, I watched those too, but no, like a WWE house show where they don't film it.
Yeah,
they just go to your like small venue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get surprise matches like that. Like Triple H, he came out of nowhere and did a promo. It was just like, oh my god.
See, that's cool. Like that's the kind of shit. Like maybe I'll check them out because the only shows ever come by me that are house shows, they're recorded half the time because it's usually Raw. And the one time it was recorded on like Friday, which was really weird, but because they go to HSBC Arena where the Sabres play a lot. Monday, WWE comes here like they used to come here 4 fucking times at least a year. Now it's at least like once or twice.
Buffalo.
And here's the thing, though,
is populated in the games too.
Here's the thing, though, when it comes to wrestling, it's like always recorded. So I don't even know if there are local house shows.
What you need to check is what, like for example, what they do for us down here is that they come when it's the what do they call it? WrestleMania month, like the road to WrestleMania. They'll travel through,
which is in between. Okay, it's in between the Rumble and Mania.
Like for example, they were gonna come here before they went to Tampa, but then the coronavirus. I was gonna go to that house show, but then they had to cancel.
Okay. Yeah, but they only bring major shows by me. I don't think they bring local shows all the way up here.
Major show would be I'd have to go to Atlanta.
But I mean, I don't think they bring small shows by me.
You like they do like Raw, they do it in Buffalo, like the Sabres Arena and all that. Then you get house shows.
I want the house show. I don't want.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure they do it in the same place too. Maybe what do you got? Some smaller down the road or something like that. They might do.
It's an hour and a half, Rochester. That's where the minor league hockey team plays, the Americans.
I got you. I remember Rochester.
So that would be good for a house show because it's still a hockey rink, but it's not like it ain't no fucking arena. I
Want to do a AEW. They've been coming to Georgia a lot, and I was gonna do one. They had a show in Atlanta. Gonna be their first steel cage match, and I was trying to get tickets. It was just like it wasn't fitting all the way for me and everything. I couldn't get tickets for it.
mm.
I really wanted to get that.
What do they? So what do tickets run typically for you? Like,
Oh, the tickets
yeah.
weren't that bad. It was like for the AEW show, the seats that I wanted were I think like $32.
Mm.
Wasn't bad, and it was like right in the middle section
Okay.
where like you wouldn't have fans that walk in front of you. You were not on the floor, or people in front of you would block you. It was nice.
I never. Yeah, I never really looked into it for whatever reason. Well,
I like house shows. They're cool. You're not like where city I'm in. It's not. It doesn't get crowded. The tickets aren't bad. Last year, hell, they had a radio station set up to a store right next to the my job. My cousin was on a cigarette break, and they were promoting WWE tickets, and he just walked over there, answered the riddle or whatever they had, and won the ticket. So it was, and of course I'm like right down the road from the Coliseum, so it's perfect. I'm like 5 minutes down the road. Great.
yeah, that's one thing. Like, because every time a couple of friends of mine, they took their kids and they go, "You gotta go," but it's like,
Oh yeah, it's fun.
yeah, well, again, they're talking major shows.
Oh, majors. See, I've done the major show and stuff.
Now,
It's fun because it's experience. You got the lights, the lasers,
well,
fireworks. You're on TV, but
here's the issue with the major shows, right? And this is something I didn't really think about because from what they told me, and from what it seems, it's always it's the same price. So if I'm gonna go to a major, and that's the other thing that I don't like. Raw and SmackDown aren't live. They're not, and that's one thing it's kind of drove me nuts because
wait, what?
I said I know Raw and SmackDown are not necessarily always live. A good friend of mine.
Raw is.
What?
Raw is.
Then why was it recorded? Then why was it? Hang on. It was recorded on a Saturday night because my buddy Jeff was at the show. I saw him on
like
TV.
Recently?
Oh no, like 7-8 years ago.
If it was a Saturday night, was it a pre-show for the? Because listen, they do Raw live. Then if you're at Raw, you get two shows technically. You get Raw, and then say if it's back in the day, they used to do like Sunday Night Heat. They would pre-record Sunday Night Heat after Raw, so you would get a pre-record off that. Or now, for example, they do Saturday Night Main Event.
It was a Raw. I watched Raw, and he was on camera. I saw him. That's why.
So it was a legit Raw.
Yeah, but it was Saturday.
Maybe what was there something that was happening at the time, or because usually they do Raw live every time. Like they had a couple recordings.
It was only. It's from my knowledge. It was one of those like select few things, and this was in the last 15 years. I don't know. 17 years. Sorry. I don't know when offhand, but I
know they did that like recording with the Monday Wars, and that kind of cost them a little bit, but no, it actually helped them in favor on that one.
So maybe it was during that, because I don't know, my timeline is never the greatest, but with that said, because we've just chatted for 25 minutes about literally not even barely wrestling related, so fuck you all, thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
Hey, before we leave, guess what I got today?
Say again?
Before we leave, guess what I picked up today or ordered today?
What'd you pick up?
I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I got a wrestler loot crate today, and supposedly it's the supposed to be American theme, right? So it's going to have like it's supposed to have like 2 T-shirts, autograph 8x10 certification autograph of whatever superstar. Could be an Indies, could be now Legend, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those, you get 2 T-shirts, you get a DVD, and then some kind of like miscellaneous, like could be a lucha mask, could be a koozie, whatever. They just throw something random wrestling related. And this theme is going to be American American Dream or American Bash or something like that. So it's gonna have like Lex Luger theme, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who else did we have? Dusty Rhodes.
You could have Hogan though.
Cody. No Hogan.
Well, because
There's Cody.
Because there was that era. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So I think they have like 5 base people. We're gonna